Good morning. People should be here in a second. We are going to use 2 blocks today, and a blanket if you like to start seated on a blanket. That's what we're using. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So my microphone, my good microphone has a flashing light. I don't know what's going on with it, so I'm again just going to do it without a microphone. But did you guys hear me okay last time? Without my microphone?
You were fine.
Okay.
I thought you were fine.
Okay. All right. I'm seated today. I think I want to move my stuff. I've got 2 blocks. Just handy for some balance work at some point. But you'll see if you need it, if you need them or not, that they are kind of helpful. I'm gonna pull this book down. So we'll start seated, so get yourself set up in a comfortable seat. And just bring your awareness to your breath, feel your body, and just kind of do what you do to let yourself settle and get present. Our theme this month is light, the return of the light, and the light that is Jesus Christ, that we celebrate his birth this month. And I love Catherine Thomas, but this is from her book, Light in the Wilderness. And she talks in a little section, she says, she quotes Doctrine and Covenants, section 50, verse 24. That which is of God is light, and he that receiveth light and continueth in God receiveth more light, and that light groweth brighter and brighter until the perfect day. Right? It is God who empowers us. And it's his light, when he touches us, that's when we're illuminated. I wanted to quote also 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power of God, of the power may be of God and not of us. I like that thought of earthen vessels, and it's our choice to let ourselves be touched and then radiate that light. So that's my invitation to you today as you practice with this earthen vessel. As you feel your breath, as you feel the strength of your body move, just think of the miracle of being alive. With your eyes closed and your breath settled, Just notice the quality of light in your internal experience. When we think of light on this earth, it is a source of growth. It's a source of cleansing and power and movement. And as we go through our practice today, we're going to really work on glute strength, lower body strength. Notice how the light of your awareness fuels that power to move. Just take one more settling breath. And then just start to find some movement of your spine while you sit. I'm going to grab my knees and let my pelvis tuck under and round back. And then tip forward and arch my back forward. Reach my heart forward. Just move there with your breath. And after a few rounds of this flexion and extension of your spine, it might feel good to find some circles. And just move your spine in circles around your pelvis. And just notice that relationship of your pelvis to your spine. And your spine to your pelvis. After you've gone one way a few times, you can go the other. And then just switch the cross of your legs and go through all of that again with the other leg in front. Just flexing and then extending through your spine. I'm finding some circles. And come to center. Just bring one hand out to the side, find a side bend over that direction. And then take your lifted arm, just bring it to the opposite knee and open your back arm back. Just find an active twist here. And then unwind yourself and just find your side bend to the other side. Root down through your right sitting bone as you lengthen through your fingertips. And then drop that hand to the opposite knee, reach your other arm back. And just find an active twist here. Unwind yourself and lean back on your hands. Bring your legs out in front of you and we'll just find some windshield wipers of your knees. So just play with that internal and external rotation of your hip joints here. And think about, like, we'll start over to one side and then I'm moving my left leg, getting it as far as I can, and then letting my right leg follow. And then opening this right leg out as far as it'll go, and then letting my left leg follow. Let's just go back and forth there. And then you can start to kind of swim your arms with this. and reach and let your spine twist. And really feel that whole back chain of your body as you reach from your shoulder blade. Let's go back and forth one more time. And then we'll pause in a 90-90. I'm actually going to take my blanket out from underneath me. You can decide if you need to sit on something. And so my right leg is in a 90-degree angle, left leg is in a 90-degree angle. And you can lean out to the side as much as you need to. We're going to play with this back hip first. So engage through that glute and push forward, and then try to deepen that curve and draw your sitting bone toward the floor. And just move back and forth there. And that left hip. And then you can make yourself more upright if that feels friendly. You could even have your hands up off the floor. Just kind of lifting this left sitting bone up off the floor and then moving it back. And then find a neutral place and steer your heart toward this right leg. I want you to push your right knee and your right foot into the floor, and push your left knee and your left foot. So both of your feet are flexed. I want you to push down. Now push into your right knee energetically and see if you can kind of float up your right foot. Probably will just happen in your imagination. But feel that effort of external rotation, really pushing your outer right thigh, your right knee into the floor, and lifting that right foot, and then release that. Now with your back leg, you can bring your right hand to the floor, push into both of your feet, push into this left inner knee, and now lift that left foot up, and you can just hold there and just feel that strength. Release. Sit up as upright as you can, flex through your right foot, and then lift your right shin as high as it'll go, and try to keep it parallel with the floor, and then lift it down. And then we'll lift your left shin. You might need to lean onto your right hand to your side. Just lift your left shin parallel with the floor. We're going to go back and forth 2 more times. So lift that right shin and lower, and lift your left shin and lower. Right shin and lower, and left shin and lower. Plant your hands behind you and just find those windshield wipers again. Just back and forth. And then we'll end over to the left side. So find those 90-degree angles in both of your knees. Sit on something if you need to. Lean into your left hand to your side, and then find some movement in this right hip. So deepen that hip crease, push your sitting bone toward the floor, and then engage and lift it up. Just go back and forth. If you can float that left hand up off the floor, or just keep it a little closer to you. Just experiment with a different placement of your left hand. as you move that right hip forward and back just a few more times. And then find kind of the in-between place. Sit as tall as you can and face your left leg. You can always be leaning into that left hand to your left. Push your left knee into the floor. Push your flexed left outer foot into the floor. Push your right inner knee into the floor. Push your flexed right inner foot into the floor. Just push both down. And then release that effort. Now push your left knee down and imagine you're lifting your left foot up off the floor. So you're really pushing down through that outer left thigh, outer left knee, flexing through that left foot. Maybe your foot comes up off the floor. For me, it's mostly in my imagination, but I can definitely feel the effort of pushing my left thigh into the floor. And then release. Push your right knee down. Flex through that right foot. You can lean over to your left, or you can stay upright. Just find what works for you, and then lift that right foot up off the floor and engage. You might feel some things working in that internal, like deep in your hip. And then lower. I've got a little crampy thing. Cramps aren't bad. It's just your nervous system saying, whoa, this is novel. Flex through that left foot. You can put some weight in your left hand or just keep it up. We're gonna lift that left shin parallel with the floor. Lower it down. Flex through that right foot. Lift your right shin parallel with the floor and put it down. One more time on each side. Lift that left shin and lift your right shin. Your torso can lean. Do what you need to. Lift and lift. And then come back to those windshield wipers. Just side to side a few more times. And let this be pretty free form here. If you want to swim your arms with it, again, you can. I just feel like focusing on my legs. And then we'll make our way to a table, hands and knees. When you get there, just paw the ground a little bit, switch your hands around in different directions. And then try putting some weight on the backs of your hands. Again, just in different directions. And then plant your hands down. Find a few rounds of cat and cow. So really relax your belly, relax your pelvic floor. You can reach your heart forward and look up. And then tuck your tailbone down. Round through your entire spine. And just use some awareness here as you move your spine. Notice if there's any sticky spots or parts of your spine where that internal light of awareness has a harder time seeing. Just see if you can focus on moving there in that place, articulating there just a little more. Right? It's just one of those things that takes practice and time and intention to really get your conscious brain connected. Let's just do one more and then end in a neutral spine. And lift your right leg back. You can flex through your foot or floint, kind of like a Barbie foot in between. Reach your left arm forward. And find that containment of your lower ribs Just softening in towards your spine, containment in your low belly, and really lengthen out through that right foot and left fingertips. Just feel your balance. And take one more breath. And then drop your left hand down, bend your right knee. And just push your right heel up toward the ceiling and then let go of that effort. Just a few times. Push your right heel toward the ceiling and then let go of the effort a little bit. Last time there. And now lift up and then externally rotate that leg. Bring your knee out to the side, knee towards your armpit, knee in towards your chest, heel toward the ceiling. And then switch directions, knee into your chest, knee to armpit out to the side, heel to ceiling. Knee to chest, and then switch directions, heel to ceiling, knee out to the side, knee to armpit, knee to chest. And just move through both of those one more time. Lengthen that right leg back, and then bring your knee down. Push yourself back into a child's pose of any amount and lengthen. Maybe wiggle your bum a little bit. Notice the difference from one side to the other. And then back up onto hands and knees. Lengthen your left leg back. And get really active through the whole length of that leg. Find the containment of lower belly and low ribs in a way that's not like rigid, but just supportive. And then reach your right arm forward. Find some external rotation in this upper left arm, like you're unscrewing a jar lid with that hand. And just really lengthen from right fingertips out through your left foot. And then right hand to the floor. Bend through that left knee and just reach that heel toward the ceiling and then let go a little bit. Reach toward the ceiling and then let go. Reach toward the ceiling. Reach toward the ceiling. And then we'll find those big hip circles. Bring your left knee out to the left, up toward your armpit, into your chest, heel to the ceiling, and then switch directions. Knee into your chest, out toward your armpit, out to the side, heel to ceiling. Go back and forth slowly. Try to keep your pelvis as level as possible. And then lengthen that leg back. And then knee to the floor. Push back into a child's pose. Rock your hips from side to side. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. Just rock forward enough that you can tuck your toes. And then just hands on the floor, or you can use blocks here. Just gonna lift our knees up and bring the heels toward the floor. And then bring your knees back down. Lift your knees up. So just rocking through your feet. And then if you want to, you can play with doing it without hands on the floor or blocks. And just bringing your knees down. And then bringing your knees up. Next time your knees get up, we're going to work on being in a squat. So you may need to step your feet a little wider. Work on bringing your heels toward the floor. If it's really hard to get your heels to the floor, you can take your folded blanket and put it underneath your heels. And that will actually give your body a little more feedback. So that feedback under your heels is important for your core. So if your heels don't want to get to the floor, see if you can find something to put underneath them. So you could roll up your mat or find your blanket. You can use your hands, your blocks, or no hands. We're just going to push into our heels and come up to standing. Pause there and then come back down into your squat. And you don't have to come all the way, you could come here. But we're just going to do 4 squats. All the way up to standing and as deep down as you can. And then we'll make our way to downward facing dog. So we've got props. You can move those all out of the way. Just walk your hands forward. And just check in with yourself here. In your first downward facing dog, you can pedal out your legs. And just find some lifting and lowering of your heels. We'll do that symmetrically on both sides. And then let your heels drop, bend into your knees, push into your hands, lift your hips a little higher. And then you can bring your legs towards straight. Look up between your hands, come onto your tippy toes, and take a walk all the way up to the top of your mat. When you get there, I want you to think about using these hamstrings. You can think of them like the strings on blinds, kind of pulling down as you come to your halfway lift, and then let yourself fold again and let those just have the right amount of tension to let your upper body lower. And I just want you to think, so like here's your pulley, here's the strength of those strings lifting you up halfway, and then let yourself lower. And do that a couple more times. And then come all the way up to standing, reach high. And bring your hands to your heart. Just enjoy your breath here for a second. Grab your blocks again, if you've got them, and just bring them in front of you. You can have them on any height. I'm going to start with mine at the highest height. Let's see, and I think I'm actually going to face you so that you can see what I'm doing better. So hands on your blocks, and you've got a forward fold with a hip hinge, okay? You're hinging at your hips and a flat back. Just like we did on our table, I want you to soften your lower ribs in and just feel strong there. And then bend your right knee and just bring that right leg straight out to the side. And now you're going to take that right foot and cross it behind your left leg and reach out and bend into this left knee. Now push into your left heel and come back to where you started. Right leg out. And then bend into your left knee and reach and cross that right leg behind you. Let's do one more. like that. And now you can play with maybe floating your hands and finding your balance for 2 more rounds there. And come up with that right leg out to the right, and then step it back. Find a high lunge. So left leg forward in high lunge. And just enjoy the strength in that left glute. Reach your right arm forward, left arm back. Find a big twist here. And then tip, bring your right fingertips to the floor. Find a big, nice, open twist there. Left hand down, step back into a plank, and then lower yourself to your belly. Bring your hands along the widest part of your chest. Okay. Start with your forehead to the floor. Draw your elbows in, shoulder blades away from your ears. Inhale, lift both legs, lift your head and chest, open your legs as wide as your mat, and then bring them back together to lower down. Lift, open those legs, and lower. Lift and open, and lower. Push yourself up through a table, and exhale to downward facing dog. And breathe there. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. And then, again, imagine that strength of those strings pulling down to lift your torso up. And then let yourself fold, but let those strings lengthen with control. And then come halfway up. And then lower. Halfway up. Lower down. And then all the way to standing. Reach high. Hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. And then find that strong forward fold with your blocks, or you can have your hands to the floor. Just want you to be able to be hinged at your hip and not flexing through your spine. So we can focus on this movement and strength in your hip joint itself. So bend your left knee and then bring it straight out to the left. And then bend into your right knee, cross your left leg behind and reach back. And then come back up, push into that right heel, lift your left knee out to the left. Reach it across. Really push firmly into that right foot. Use that right glute strength to bring you up and down. And after this one, if you want to float your hands, you can do 2 more. Without hands. And then step back into your high lunge. Reach your arms high. Left arm forward, right arm back. Find your big open twist. And then tip left fingertips toward the floor. Reach your right arm up. Lengthen. And just feel the length through that right outer hip. Exhale, right hand to the floor. Inhale to your plank. Then exhale to lower all the way to your belly. And those same locust variation. So drag your elbows in, push into your pubic bone, lift your head and chest, lift both legs, open your legs, open as wide as your mat, and then back together and lower. Lift and open, lower. And connect this with your breath. So your breath is smooth. In and out of your nose. One last time. And then make your way through table to downward facing dog. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Use those pulley strings to lift you halfway. Exhale and fold. Inhale to standing. Reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale your left foot back into a lunge. Exhale, float your hands back by your hips and feel strong. Push into that right heel and inhale to reach your arms high. Left arm forward, right arm back. Take a breath in. And then exhale, drop those left fingertips toward the floor. Find your hip, find your twist. And now we're gonna come to standing, balanced on the right foot, bringing your left knee into your chest. So push into that right heel, bring your left knee up, and then twist, right arm forward, left arm back. We're gonna move back and forth between those. So now you'll cartwheel this left hand to the floor as you step your left leg back, reach your right arm up. And again, left knee into chest, right arm forward, left arm back. Let's do 2 more of those. Step back, open. Push into that right heel. Oh, my balance is tricky. And come up. Last time. And then find that lunge twist. Pause there. And then exhale, both hands to the floor. Bring your left knee to the floor. You can pivot on this left knee, and then just bring your right leg back for a modified side plank. Really open through your right side body. You can bring your right arm alongside your ear. And then float that right leg up off the floor. Lengthen. And then both hands down. Downward facing dog. And just breathe. And just notice that sense of awareness and light. Notice the aliveness in your body. Notice the difference between your right and left sides. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, using those blind strings. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right foot back into that high lunge. And then exhale just to float your hands back by your hips and feel strong. Push down into that left heel and come on up into your high lunge. Settle here for just a breath. Reach your right arm forward, left arm back. And then tip into those right fingertips on the floor. Find that open, easy lunge. And then right knee will come into your chest. You'll just cartwheel your arms. Push into that left heel. Left arm forward, right arm back. And then swing that right arm forward and down. Step your right foot back and open into your twist. Push into your left heel. Feel strong through the big toe ball down, pinky toe ball down, center of your heel on that left foot. And swim your way back. Two more times. This is our last time. Right hand down, left arm up, and then bring your right knee to the floor. Plant through that right hand. Just take your left leg back, reach your left arm up, and then alongside your ear. Find some external rotation of that upper arm bone. So you feel solid in that right shoulder. And then you can float left leg up. And then left hand down, left knee down, downward facing dog. And sway your hips from side to side. And then bring your knees to the floor. Ground that right knee. You can pivot on that right knee. Find that modified side plank. Again, so left leg back, right arm down, left arm up. Now we're gonna let this right hip, come to the floor. And you're going to take your left foot and plant it in front of your right knee. And now we'll lean forward. You can use your hands as much as you need to. Push into this left heel. And we're going to come up to standing with that right knee out to the side, like we did at the beginning of class. And then we're gonna go back to where we started. So bend into your standing knee. Bring your right knee to the floor. Right hand to the floor. Right hip to the floor. Lengthen that leg out. Lift up into your Vashisthasana. Okay, now we're gonna move through those, and you move at your own pace. Drop that hip to the floor. Place your foot in front of your knee. You can use your blocks if you need to. Push into that left foot and lift that right leg out to the right. And then you'll slowly, come back. Shin to the floor, hand to the floor. Lengthen through that leg and bring your hip down. Lift your hip. Actually, you'll want to bring it down and plant your foot. So you just move at your own pace, slowly and mindfully. This is harder doing it talking than when I was planning. And then come back. But really getting your core involved, getting your hips involved. Let's just go one more time. And we'll meet in a downward facing dog. So once you get back down to the floor, just find your downward facing dog. And then bring your knees to the floor, and we'll just move right to the other side. So pivot on that left knee and bring your right leg out. And you'll find that modified side plank with your knee down. And then bring that left hip to the floor. Swing your right leg around and plant. And then you can lean forward, use your hands as much as you need to. Push into that right heel to come up to standing and bring that left knee out to the left. And then you'll make your way back down. Plant your hand and lengthen. And lower your hip. Step forward. Push into your heel to come up. Knee out to the side. Just move at your own pace, but slower is stronger. Don't just throw yourself into the movements. Don't be flinging. So try to use that muscular control through the whole movement. Use your blocks or your hands as much as you need to. And just move mindfully at your own pace. Let's do one more. Next time you get to the floor, just make your way to a downward facing dog or a child's pose, whatever your body's calling for after that work. How are we doing on time? And kind of shake your bum out. And then we'll move into an active pigeon pose from here. So take your right knee forward, whether you're in child's pose or downward dog, take your right knee forward toward your right wrist and let your right heel be toward your pubic bone. And then squeeze your knees toward each other and come upright. Really push that right shin into the floor and find that engagement of right knee and left knee toward each other. Let yourself feel strong there. And then bring your hands to the floor, tuck your back toes. You're just gonna float yourself into a plank with that right knee in towards your chest, and then send your right foot straight out to the left. Bring weight into that right hand. You can dial your left heel down. Open your left arm up to a fallen triangle. And then bring your left hand down. And lift that left heel. And then bring your right hip to the floor. So you're just kind of twisted over the straight right leg. And you should feel, at least I feel, all of that work that we did in that glute. You can bring your forearms to the floor, forearms to a block. And just breathe into that outer right hip. So I'm twisting my heart toward the floor. I'm twisting my belly toward that right thigh. Your knee can be bent if it needs to be. Let's take one more round of breath there. And then come up on your hands. I'm just gonna briefly just kind of rock yourself so you're in a wide-legged forward fold. Send your sitting bones behind you and just let it be pretty gentle here. You don't need to come very far. I'm just gonna pause. And then come back up. Make your way to that active pigeon pose with your left leg. So I'm just gonna bend my left knee here, plant my hands in front of my knee and swing my right leg back. Really push into the top of your left shin. And then you can bring the top of that right foot to the floor. Feel like you're squeezing your knees toward each other as you come up. And push that left shin to the floor. Push your right shin into the floor. Squeeze those knees toward each other. And then plant your hands, tuck your back toes. Float that left knee in towards your chest and then send your straight left leg out to the right. Put some weight into that right hand, dial your right heel down, open your left arm up. So we're in this kind of fallen triangle side plank. And then bring your right hand down and just lower your right outer hip to the floor. And I turn my right kneecap toward the floor. You just listen to what's available in that IT band, that outer left leg. So it doesn't matter how you turn this back leg. You just do what feels available. I'm gonna grab a block for my forearms. And just breathe into that outer left hip. And feel the smoothness of your breath. And how do you experience light in your earthen vessel? What other words could you use for it? And what is the purpose of this kind of a practice for you? Of this kind of movement and heat. Go ahead and come back up on your hands. I'm just going to rock to a wide-legged forward fold. And my legs are probably about 90 degrees, maybe just a little bit more. And if you want to come in and out of it a few times with your breath, just finding that wave of your spine and feeling that length in your hamstrings. And then find a place where you can hold it for a little bit. It may be you find your forearms on your block. So a place that's interesting but not an emergency. Just adjust with your breath. Go ahead and come back up. Just bring your hands behind your knees and bend your knees. Stack right shin on top of left shin, or right shin in front of left shin. Whatever works. So stay active through this right foot. If you need something in between your lower ankle and your top knee, you can bring something there. But it's nice to have something to press into. Kind of give yourself some feedback. So energetically, really push that right knee down. Use that external rotation capacity of those muscles that you've got. And then you can let go of that effort. So it's just about 20% effort or 30% effort. Lead with your heart and let yourself fold over that front shin any amount. So maybe hands are on your shins, maybe hands can come in front of that shin. And find length out of your spine. And then come on up. Lean back, uncross your legs, and just find those windshield wipers we found at the beginning. Just back and forth. See if one side feels different than the other. And then set yourself up for that fire log, stacked shins on the other side. So either left shin in front or left shin on top. But my ankle, right, my heel is in line with my knee. I'm not sickling my ankle. So if I had my foot really on top of my knee, that would create some misalignment in my ankle. So my foot's almost hanging off the side of my lower leg. Be active through that left leg. Push into something. So if it's helpful to have feedback, you can put a folded blanket or a pillow or your block there. Flex through that right foot. Push down through that, left foot, sorry. Push down through your left knee. Lengthen up through your crown of your head. And then you can relax that effort most of the way and let yourself fold. So maybe forearms to shin, maybe forward more. Notice where you're breathing. See if you can really invite that breath down into your lowest ribs, into your back body, into your sides. And then walk your hands in. Again, find those windshield wipers. Just back and forth. And make your way onto your back. And hold on to the backs of your thighs. Lower yourself down. Give yourself a hug. And grab your outer feet, find that happy baby pose. Reach your tailbone toward the floor and let your shoulders drop toward the floor as you let your feet and your hands resist each other. You can even think about finding that lumbar curve, but letting your low ribs stay on the floor. You might not get any space between your lower back, but just feel that action. And then release. Let yourself take up as much space on your mat as you can, and find any props that feel good for you here. And really kind of let yourself wiggle. So just kind of rock your bum from side to side. You can rock your feet from side to side. You can rock your head from side to side. You can kind of shimmy your rib cage from side to side, arms. Just let your whole body rock and shake on the floor. And just feel the sliding of your skin and muscles past each other as you move there. And then just let go of that motion. Let your whole body settle. And let your breath just breathe itself. Return to 2 Corinthians 4, 6 and 7. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. As you breathe, just really feel that light in your earthen vessel. That aliveness that is your connection to the divine. That light that shines in all things. Stay in your relaxation for as long as you have time. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Hope you have a great day.